see like his vision and what's doing and what they're doing for the community. So this is just step one of us kind of getting exposure and letting people know, you know, not only do we want to kind of provide a spot, but also to provide some services that really make our kids grow and develop. And so that's why I felt it was an awesome opportunity for me to kind of just work with them and kind of connect with them, because that's where my vision comes at. Like I said, I never really had a desire to be a business owner, but that just kind of happened, and doors just kind of opened, and so many other doors are open that I'm going to kind of share with you guys right now about Remember You Matter. So in October is kind of when this happened. Those of you who know me, I'm an occupational therapist. I've been in Killeen since 2001. When I came here, I was married, and my ex-husband at that now ex-husband, we were married, and this is his first duty station. So I've been here for quite some time, but I've always been one who, he was deployed quite a bit, but it was my desire to use that time to build myself up. And so I would go to school. My first job here was working for Metroplex, working at Metro Kids through them. And then I transitioned to Kids Therapies, which is an outpatient facility here, and I worked there for 8 years. And then from there, I went to on post. I worked on post with soldiers at the TBI clinic, and I was there for 3 years, working with soldiers with TBI and PTSD, and that's actually where I got motivated to go back to school to get my doctorate, and I studied soldiers who have anxiety and who are dealing with PTSD, and my study mainly was with a lot of soldiers who had kind of barricaded themselves from being a part of the world. And so from an OT standpoint, I saw it as being, what can I do to help them deal with these anxiety symptoms that they're having that's stopping them from being a part of the world and make it to where they have the skills to be able to kind of function. And so I was there for 3 years and just developed a love for veterans. And it was funny because I'm usually a pretty quiet and to myself type of person. But in that setting, like, I had this reputation where if a veteran came in my room, they were going to leave there crying. And everyone used to be like, what did you do to them? And I was like, I don't know. But I guess the difference is when I see a person, I see a person. I don't see a rank. I don't see a position. I don't see a job. I see that person. And if I see them hurting, then I'm going to address that hurt. I'm going to call it out in a loving way. And I'm going to provide you with resources and tools to help you to be the best, to let you know life isn't over. And so lately, it's you know, I kind of got myself in the mindset where, you know, not only did I learn to give to others, but through this process of loss, in 2015, there was a lot of loss that hit my life, with me losing first my mom to stage 4 stomach cancer. And within a few months of that, after about 17 years of marriage, I filed for divorce, and I was in a car accident and had hurt my back and couldn't walk for a while. There was a point where I was unemployed. There was a point where my kids, with all this going on with me traveling to kind of see my mom, my son was still in school. It just felt like everything had kind of fallen in, and there was just this period of loss. And so I'd always loved God. I always served God. I've never kind of, you know, turned my back on God. So I kind of asked, I was like, what's going on? You know, I've always been in church. I always believed in you. Why am I going through this? And so there was a period where I realized that a lot of things in my life I could plan out, you know? I could plan out my career. I could plan out schooling. I could plan out my jobs. But there was a point where God had to kind of take away the control away from me and learn this was a point where everything was out of control. Like, I couldn't go home to my mom when the divorce happened because she wasn't there, and I couldn't turn to, you know, my ex-husband because he wasn't there when my mom died. When my kids were going through it, there was no one else. It felt like just me. And so I remember getting on my knees and just, you know, crying out to God. And at that moment, I just felt this weight. Like, I just said, I don't want to try to do it anymore. I don't want to try to make it happen. I just give it all to you. And so he put me through a year of rest. And during that year, I got rid of all my planners and my calendars. And normally people would be like, because I was a planner, and, you know, they'd be like, what are you doing for Christmas? Or what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I'd always have da-da-da-da. And I would say now, I don't know. I'm just going to take it a day at a time. And I'm just going to give it to God, and I'm just going to follow this path and follow this journey. And while I started doing that, I started doing a lot more reading. I started doing a lot more looking at myself and seeing how I was feeling and seeing, you know, all that I had been given. Yes, I was given to people. I was helping everyone. But inside, I had forgot who I was. And I didn't even know who I was because I was married so early. And, you know, I always loved people and I always gave, but I wasn't giving myself what I needed. And so I took the time out to really figure out where I was having things. And I just really developed a love for reading. More about myself. I started researching stuff, but it was more about, you know, I started reading the Bible and really getting it in my heart and learning this process. And through it, things just started kind of coming my way. And I knew, because I started to trust when I should follow something and when something wasn't good. Because I learned if I have to pull for something, I have to work for something too hard, then that's not for me. But I used to be like, oh, that's a challenge. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to drain myself out. But I learned sometimes you got to kind of be patient. And you got to understand this may not be for you for a reason. It's not a bad thing, and you may not understand it right now, but if you let go, and I always thought letting go meant, okay, you know, I let it go, but in my mind, I'm still thinking, I'm like, it's going to happen, you know. I didn't really let go. So then I learned this concept of true surrender. And that's a difference than letting go. It really means that you release that attachment, that worry, that thing that keeps you up at night, but it takes a process and it takes tools and it takes working to be able to do that. And so once I was really able to learn to surrender my life to God, and then just kind of follow my true purpose, there was a period, like after about a year and a half, where I just heard this voice say, it's time. And with that, you know, I was like, okay, well, it's time for something, right? But I don't really need to bring that calendar back out because it's kind of nice to relax and be able to sleep. And so it wasn't like an all at once thing, but as I started continuing to read, things started coming to me. And the first thing that came to me was this email. And it was an email, a Groupon type email about a life coach certification. And I had saw it once and I was like, what is that? And so I looked at it again, I read through the program and just saw how it talked about really healing yourself from the inside out. And it really talked about like the balancing life and all the areas of it. And I realized, you know, I had done a lot of yo-yo where I could work out really hard, I could go to school really hard, but I couldn't do it all at once. And so I was like, okay, let me try this out and see what this program is like. So I signed up for the life coach certification. And the first thing you got to do is you got to be your own life coach. And you learned the tools and you practiced them yourself and you had a 30-day in-depth kind of, you know, immersion to using tools, realizing who you were. And so that was probably the most amazing experience ever. You know, I learned that yes, I can love God with my whole heart, but that's not all it takes. Like God puts resources inside. He created us as humans that have multiple parts, and we have to learn how to use the things that we need to put all those pieces together and work on it as a whole. And so by having God there, plus learning how to be mentally strong, how to take care of my body physically, how to eat right, and how to emotionally deal with all that stuff that had built up from losing and all the loss and all the understanding, by putting it out in front of me, journaling about it, coming up with solutions so I didn't stay stuck anymore, it was like 45 days because I merged like the course you have like 6 months to complete it, but I completed it, and you know, there we go, that core focus, 45 days, I had it completed, and I was like, oh, wow, like this is it, this is what I want to do, and I want to share this with other people, and I want to start something. And so I went to researching in October of last year, and I found a web designer who helped me sat right there by me and helped me create my website, where I got to put all the things that, like, it feels like God had just, over the years, like my certification in mindfulness, my certification in working with kids, my experience working with the TBI clinic with veterans and learning that, and just the exposure of knowing I love the community and being able to kind of work on teaching about communication and leadership. So I just kind of put it all together. And like most times you see a life coach that works in, and they have a niche, right? They work in one area. And I was like, I can't just do one area because I don't feel like I'm one person. Like I'm so multidimensional, and I love working with people. I'm great with kids, but I also love adults. I love geriatrics. Like I've had the blessing and the privilege to work with all those ages, being an occupational therapist. And so I currently work in the school system and school district. And so I was like, why not? Like, so I just started, like, doors started opening where I just started being able to put all of it together. And so what's unique about Remember You Matter is it's not, I don't consider it to be my business. I consider it to be a message, right? It's a message to all of us. Like when we wake up in the morning, when we talk to our kids, when we go out to the workplace, you know, we're burned out, we're tired, we're taking care of everybody else, and yet we neglect to remember how we matter. We neglect to realize how if we continue to let stress build up, we break down and we can't show up and we can't be good to our students as teachers, or if we're, you know, parenting, or just even as a friend, like as a wife, like we can't show up unless we remember to turn that spotlight on us and kind of address those issues. So with that, there's several programs. I'm going to kind of let Mr. Daniel give you guys a tour, and then I want you to kind of look at the table, and on the brochures, it tells you all the different programs. I do individual coaching, but I also do group, and that's what I love. Like I love working with kids together. For adults, I offer an 8-week transformation, live your best life workshop, and you'll see the book that I kind of use for that through the coaching school that will be there. I do a mindful, calm, and relaxing, so that if you're having a really stressful life, it's a 6-week program, we'll kind of get together, we'll support each other, and we come in and we do yoga strategies, some mindfulness, we work on journaling, and a lot of other tools that I learned through the life coaching process that will be amazing. Homework is involved, but you get an action plan, and you figure out, you know, I'm too busy to focus on me, how do I do this? And so that's where you come in, and we give you a plan, and you figure out how to change your life, not just from the outside, but really from the inside in and the outside. So you're dealing with both areas, and we teach you kind of how to do that. And then for businesses, I love speaking. Like that's become the thing that I'm now, and it's funny because I'm gonna give you a break and I'm gonna kind of talk about that was my greatest fear, is speaking in front of people, and the fact that that is now where my life has taken me. There's a testimony within that and also a blessing within that. So I'm gonna let you guys peruse the area and have some snack, and I'm gonna change my clothes, and I'm gonna kind of transform into a life coach, and I'm gonna take you through a quick little group life coaching session so you kind of understand it, and we're gonna kind of move from there. Okay? All right, so intermission break.